Welcome back from lunch. My name is John Lawrence. I am going to be moderating the contractor panel. Before I do that, just another reminder, we have the sign-up sheets for the 4 dinner opportunities. The one which is with me at Valari is only got, I think, 1 more spot open. Okay, maybe that's not true, but I just don't want Dave to have more than me. So anybody, please go sign up. But no, you do seriously, because we have to turn in the reservations to the restaurant. So if you want to participate, please do that. We have a panel of 3 contractors today, and I really want to thank them for taking the time to come out here, because all of you know the folks that are out in the field, our customers. It's really hard to get them, especially this time of year, away from the job site to come here and help. So let's please have some good questions. Let's make this a really valuable session for all of us. But we really appreciate you guys taking the time to come here, because it's really important for us. So thank you. I'm going to start off. I'm going to have each gentleman introduce himself, explain to you the type of business that they have, the size of their business, the scope of work that they do, and really our objective today. And I want it to be, very loose. I know that we have a microphone that's going to be going around and come up with some really great questions, but we want to get a good sense from these individuals, if we have this opportunity, what is the best way for us to market to them? How do they like to get marketing information? How do they want us to communicate with them? That's part of this objective, and feel free to shoot out any questions as we go along. But we're going to start off and have George, just if you can, just introduce yourself and explain a little bit about your company.
Yes, how you doing? My name is George Baca. I've been in business for 18 years. I'm a small company, 4 employees are myself. A couple of trucks, and basically all we do is residential in the Naperville area. So that's about it there.
Okay, great. Thank you. Tom?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Tom Heskin, second-generation contractor. My dad started me out in kindergarten, 50 cents a half day, $1 a whole day, put the plates on the outlets, and they're all crooked, but still. Back in 01, got out of new construction, went strictly service, and we run 11 trucks, and we pretty much take care of both residential and industrial commercial on the service side, and we leave the new construction for these gentlemen.
Okay, great. Joe?
My name is Joe Connolly. I am 3rd generation Connolly Electric, based out of Addison, Illinois. We've been in business since 1979, and we range from healthcare, retail, mixed-use development. We run about, I would say, maybe on a strong year, 250 employees, maybe about 15 service trucks. And we kind of go all over. Outside the Chicagoland area, we branch out into a little bit into Indiana and Wisconsin also. Annual sales is between $60 and $70 million per year.
Great. So you can see we've got a nice cross-section of contractors. So it should really give us, because I think the one thing that we probably already know this, but there's not going to be any one way. You're going to have to do different types of marketing to reach everybody, because everybody has a different preferred method. So I figured I wrote up a few questions myself just to kind of get this going, but I'm going to ask all 3 of you, and we can just start from this side and go down. Just start with George. Do you, with your marketing effort, or your distributors, how do you like to get information from them about products, specials, promotions, training? How do they communicate that message to you typically? Or do you have a preference?
Well, my preference would be, straight, someone call me, give me a call. Hey, we have this, we have that. Some of the times, I know myself or find out of certain things and by myself, and I say, well, where's my rep? Why not? I'm not informed. So I always would like a call. I mean, that's my method. I'm not really into email, stuff like that, or advertising. I just want someone to call me, and for me, I think that's the best way. A call.
Is it time? I mean, is it ease? Is it just something that just the message is just, you just prefer that one-to-one voice on the phone?
Yes, I think because, sometimes they send me an email or information, and I mean, me to get it could be a week, to reply or to figure it out, because I'm always busy, because it's me and 4 guys, so a call, I think, will be better. Right.
Okay. And that's from like a distributor, your distributor.
Yes,
yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Tom?
A little bit different than George, and nothing wrong with everybody's personal preferences. I kind of prefer just to get an email, but with one item, based on the fact, as silly as it may sound, sometimes we get inundated where a distributor may send you 10 doggone things at the same time, and you're in the process of going through everything through your spam folder and everything else. And if you get something with too much information on it, you're just going to delete it. So if there's one item that stands out that really catches your attention, you'll take the 30 seconds to read about that product. If there's too much information about too many products, you're just going on to the next email to see what else you have to deal with for that morning, or whatever time you allocate to address each of the emails you get.
Right. Okay. Joe?
Yeah, I would say I would agree with Tom, as well as George. Phone calls and emails are preferred. Each distributor usually has their point, their person that would call on us, come to our office once, maybe twice a week. Sometimes it helps if they bring a sample into our office. We could take a look at it, actually get our hands on it, bring it into our engineering team or onto our project management team, and kind of let them actually see the product for themselves. I think it helps if the distributor is knowledgeable themselves, because a lot of times the distributor is dealing with our purchasing department or our project managers on a daily basis, and it's easy for them, they're on the phone all the time, it's easy for them just to say, hey, can I shoot you an email, this new product we have, or can we set up a lunch and learn possibly, and can you rabble up some of your project managers, estimators, whoever it may be. So I think the easiest way would be emails, but I think directly talking to the distributors and making sure that they're very informed, because they're the ones really talking to us on a daily basis, whatever the case may be. So it's easy to get things set up and educational classes set up that way. And then also having getting the product in their hands, because they are making the weekly visits to our office as well.
Now, do you have because you're different size companies, what about communicating to the folks, you guys are the ownership or the leadership in the company. I mean, how do you feel about it getting to your field guys? Or, I mean, do you want us communicating to them as well? I mean, are you opposed to that, whether it's on an email marketing, if it's, a lot of the different tools, but is that all right? Or you prefer the messaging to come directly up top? Or can we reach all of your staff? Not sure how you feel about that. Joe, we'll go backwards.
I would say, at least for our company, it would be preferred if it came in through the office, and then we could set up our top field staff and put together something similar to this. Our company in particular, I think we have between 100 and 150 just foremen in the field. So it would be something similar to this, where we would get it together, and then bring in multiple people and multiple products. If you start to go, I think things can get lost in translation if you start to go direct to the field. You don't want them using things that maybe weren't spec'd, or maybe wasn't approved, or maybe they're just not as informed on when we should and when we should not be using a certain product. I think filtering through the office is the best way, at least for us.
Okay. Tom?
I think Joe has the right way. He addressed it in the proper fashion. We have weekly meetings in-house, and whenever we find something pertinent, we'll address it in the weekly meeting. And nothing against distributors, sometimes they'll have items they want to be brought out in the field, and until it's more or less like field tested or, given a second thought, you don't want it to head straight out to the field in case, there's a bump in the road.
Right, right.
Okay, I would say the best way, it's fine if you go to the lower people, but always have to go through me. They would tell me, okay, we have this new product, we want to show it to your, well, like I say, I only have like 4 people. 2 of them are my supervisor, always overseeing all the jobs. They could go straight to them, but it has to go first through me. If I don't have time to explain to them what's going on, but they know them already because that's how it works. A couple of my distributors just show up at the job site and tell them, okay, we have this, or they bring them new things. They came out, so it's fine, but it has to go first through me.
When we create some sort of marketing piece that we're sending to you, and I don't know if you're going to be able to easily answer this, but what is it that influences you guys the most? Is it it caught my attention because it was a new product and I've not seen it? Is it pricing that's a driver? Is it what's the trigger that you feel that mostly catches your eye when a phone call comes in, or an email comes in, or a direct mail piece comes in, or a video is presented, or if you go to a distributor website, or what is it that catches your eye? What is it that helps your purchasing decisions?
I want to say, normally what I've seen out there, and like I said, again, I always find out later, they come into our supply, and there's showing there's stuff there, and that's how sometimes we know. And I think sometimes it's too late. We already find out in another source. So I think the best thing would be, again, go straight to us with the new stuff. This is what's coming. If it's one item a month, then you call us 1 month. Every month.
Right. Right.
So I think that would be the best way.
Okay. Tom?
I think what works for us is the marketing material itself, based on the fact we consider ourselves next to the end user. We're selling to the end user, so we have to have a marketing piece that's attractive enough that we can bring to the end user and say, this is the latest 2015 widget that is the best thing. It's got all the bells and whistles, and it's descriptive enough where Mrs. Homeowner or whoever the customer is can look at it and say, geez, that's something I want. So it has to be attractive enough, not only for us as the installing contractor, but the end user being the purchaser that's going to end up saying that they want it either in their place of business or their home.
Right. Okay.
I think I would agree with Tom as well. The end user obviously has to like the product. They have to like how it looks. I think what catches our eye, we do a lot of design build work, so we have engineers that will spec specific materials throughout the project. I think a main thing for us, something new, would be cost and availability. If something's not available, we're not going to pitch it to the end user, because a lot of times that end user has a schedule and that end user needs to get stuff done. So if something is brand new, it might be great, but if it's not available, or if the cost is too high, we won't even bring it to them. I think that would be my main focus when projecting a new product.
I'm going to ask one more and then turn it over to a couple. Do you like to, your purchases, do you just buy through your salesperson? Do you buy on a website? I mean, would you go to a distributor website and buy? Would you use a mobile app to make purchases? Do you use all of those options, or do you prefer one, or is there one that maybe you don't like? You're traditional. It might be as simple as, you're calling up the distributor and saying, I need X, Y, Z. And that's fine. Just, do you use the other tools that we provide? George, I'll start with you.
But normally the way I do my stuff, my purchasing is just, pick up the phone and call. This is now, but I want to say 10 years ago, everything was through email. I did had more guys working for me. So what I did myself is I created a spreadsheet with my, parts. And that was the reason, that was the main thing that I did it, just send an email, and boom, the thing was at the job the next day. I don't do that no more because now my jobs are totally different. Now everything is custom. Before everything was the same. So that's kind of like my way of doing the stuff. But I think mobile is getting through the phone with apps. It's getting out there. I don't think there's enough software yet, at least at my end. Like I said, I do have still the spreadsheets. I can put them in my email and just send it in. So that's something that I'll probably coming back to it. Not right now, but that would be a great, good thing. Apps. If we have spreadsheets or some kind of a material list, just punch in the quantities and you're done.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Tom.
For us, one of our biggest cost factors is copper, and it's not really marketable. It just comes down to dollars and cents. So when you need that, you're just picking up the phone and calling. As far as tablets, PCs, for fixture orders, I've found that, distributors in the Chicagoland market have different markup ratios than if you go to someone in Pennsylvania. And if you have a fixture order for a custom residence or a Target store, you can find them a lot cheaper elsewhere, but trying to get them delivered to here is a whole different ballgame. Mm-hmm. So, we're in our market and we have to deal with what's in our market, so we become accustomed to that.
Right. Okay. Joe?
I think we've adopted a philosophy of centralized purchasing. So with the amount of guys in the field, we used to have every single field foreman call in his order. So it would just be a phone call. He would have his own purchase order, and he would call it into the distributor himself. We got away from that just to avoid over ordering and 1, 2, 3, 4 phone calls to the distributor. And we took it out of their hands. We brought it into purchasing. So the products, all the material, fixtures, gear, that kind of stuff is delivered or called in through our purchasing department. Purchasing will then contact the distributor. And it's usually on a day-to-day material, it's usually via email. That we found that to be the fastest way. Phone calls are good when you have specific items, custom items. Phone calls are good for that to describe more as opposed to going back and forth on an email. We've adopted a couple apps from certain distributors, not necessarily for ordering purposes, more for pricing. I think that's helped a lot. Field guys can look on an app on their phone and say, hey, I need this, this, and this, and they can get an idea for how much it'll cost and how readily available it is. So he would make the phone call to our purchasing department and say, hey, I found this on this so-and-so's app. It's available in 2 to 3 weeks. This is about how much it is. Can you get this going for me? So I think that's where we've used apps the most as far as for pricing and availability. For the most part, still, I would say material orders to distributors still goes via email and the phone calls.
Okay, great.